board character. This is like Sunday school. Some of you are old enough to remember Flannel book characters. I know DC is. He's old enough to remember. But the bad thing is he's only about 4 minutes older than me. So, and from the experience I know is that the amount of money your Sunday school had determined how many characters you had. Some Sunday schools only had 2 or 3 male characters and maybe 1 female character. Now they stuck to the flannel board. You young people don't know what this is all about. And if they lost their stickiness, then you had even less. And some kids became confused because the same figure played all the characters. From week to week. They might have a little change, but that same figure might have a little change of costume, played different characters, but it was the same figure. Now today, we're going to talk about characters and their characteristics. We're going to change up a little bit. We're going to talk about characteristics of not just one character, but a few characters and their characteristics. And you might want to know why. And if you have your Bible, let's look at Hebrews 1. And 1. Hebrews 1 and 1. I've told everybody in town that I had a comparative study Bible. 4 different versions, all on the same page. I begged for this before I retired from Michael Air Force Base, and they gave it to me, so I know you're tired of me saying this, but we're going to go with the New International this morning. In the past, God spoke to our forefathers through the prophets at many times and in various ways. That's pretty clear. He spoke his word to the prophets. And his word became their word, became the written word. But we don't only want to look at the written word, not only the word written from the prophets. We want to look at their lives. We want to look at their actions, their deeds, their character. And that speaks volumes to us. Because if you got a good example, you want to emulate that. You want to imitate that. You want to follow that. But if you got a bad example, you don't want to imitate that. You don't want to follow that. And the things that the prophets did, like Noah, Samuel, Jonah, Elijah, are examples for us. Not just the word, but their lives. Okay, Sunday school. I want you to use your imagination, as I said. And this character, if it was me, I would have had a burning bush on my garment. It was something that occurred in my life. Burning but not consumed. All right, Sunday school, who is our first prophet?
Moses.
Moses. All right, all right. Moses was a great role model. Moses was the standard for leadership. Even today, when you study leadership, they use Moses as a standard. And we know the story. We know that Moses led God's people out of bondage to the promised land. So I'm not going to go into all about Moses because I think he's already been highlighted. Most of these have been highlighted before. So we're looking at something different. We're not looking at all the things that happened to him. But Moses sinned. And he did not enter the promised land. If you remember your Bible, you remember that God told Moses on 2 occasions to get water from the rock. On the first occasion, he told him to smite the rock, and the water will come forth. Moses was obedient to that, and he smote the rock, and the water came forth. Now, the second time, God told Moses to speak to the rock. But just as you and other people, we let others affect our actions, affect what we do. The Hebrews, the Jews were complaining, grumbling, murmuring about the water, about this and that. And Moses got angry, and Moses struck the rock in direct disobedience to what God told him to do. And for that, Moses was not allowed to enter the promised land. To some of us, that seems like a drastic punishment. The crime does not fit the punishment. But when you look at the significance of what Moses did, then you can see why God was angry with Moses. Because